Once you progress a little bit through Deimos and Trati faction, Father will make Trumna available to you. At a first glance, it's a chunky, oversized assault rifle, but upon further inspection, it does raise an eyebrow. To sum it up, Trumna has an old fire mode, which is kinda like how heavy attack works on a melee. In this case, after 5 kills, you can use old fire, which is one hell of a nuke. Right out of the gate, the thing that really stands out is a huge magazine size, especially when you compare it to just how much damage you're doing with each shot. You can shoot for days before reloading, and for quick missions, chances are you might not even have to reload it once. Which sounds even better when I tell you the reload time of the weapon. It's freaking 5 seconds. Weapon cannot use tactical reload in Exila slot, but you can put synth mods on your Sentinel and it'll work. And honestly, that's probably one of the best ways to play the weapon. Just quick switch to melee whenever you're not engaging and it will refill more than enough, especially considering the synth mods work off of a magazine size, and we already mentioned just how big that magazine is in Trumna, basically a machine gun size magazine. Though weapon doesn't really have a machine gun level of fire rate. But let's focus on the good stuff. Weapon hits like a truck. Primary fire has small AoE damage, which can help sometimes, but weapon is a hit scan, so it's not like it's hard to hit with it directly. That's partially why I'm still using galvanized aptitude with this, but we'll discuss more on that later. Build is basically your crit build. Viral, hunter munitions, more multi-shot the merrier, and the Riven. In my case, Riven has electricity to it, alongside multi-shot and critical damage, so my Trumna is viral radiation. So with all that in mind, we have 4 different status effects to it. Impact, viral, radiation, and bleeding with hunter munitions, which is more than great for galvanized aptitude, and weapon's relatively high status chance, even though galvanized does not increase that AoE damage. Weapon has a kick to it, which is one drawback. Use of stabilizer is neither required alongside primary deadhead to null the recoil completely. Talking about deadhead, headshots with primary fire are odd. Often you will shoot faces point blank and it will not count as a headshot, nor you will get a deadhead stack. So that's another part why I keep using galvanized aptitude on the weapon, just to keep the damage more consistent. It sure is viable to run other arcanes there, just you will have some recoil to it. Also, if you don't like messing with synth mods, you can surely use a reload mod there. There's a room in that build for sure, to tune things to your own liking. For example, Firestorm will give you extra range for alt fire. Fire Rate will also help you with primary fire. By the way, here I run Fire Rate Arcane on Mirage. Arcane Acceleration? I know what things do, I just don't know their names. A few details on alt fire. Unlike primary fire mode, this is not a hit scan. It has a slow projectile flight speed and a serious arc to it. Direct hits with it do seem to benefit from galvanized aptitude and all the priming, so you can stack up an easy one shot for almost anything you can think of. Primary fire's high status chance can be a good enough primer for alt's big boy shot. Projectile does end up bouncing around a few times. Add a multi-shot value to it and you get some bizarre spread. It's a bit random, but it still covers a lot of area. Reload animation looks cool, but I honestly do not think any reload animation in the world can be cool while lasting for 5 seconds in a horde shooter game. Trumna is loads of fun, but to me it's not a daily driver, and that's mostly down to headshots not properly registering with primary fire. Damage is super high. I'm not even complaining that I don't get to keep my deadhead at maximum stacks all the time. It's just taking away the satisfaction of hitting the melon and hearing that melon pop sound. Versus Corpus you will be more consistent because of their big helmets. But versus Grenier it's super random. Same for Infested. Weirdly enough, with alt fire, headshots are registering 100% correctly. It's just primary fire that's borked. I still use it frequently, mostly to delete steel pad bosses and similar heavier enemies, or just clear some rooms. And yes, I know your question. Does it one-shot the hardest boss of all bosses?